Hello, my name is Kassandra Bowden, and I've been posting and writing since 2011 under the name James Bowden and James Bowden MA. This video is intended to establish one thing on a definite basis before hopefully you watch too many other videos of mine. And that is, I wanted to establish some level of credibility because oftentimes too many people tune into these kind of channels and they just throw their credentials at you and they don't really have any kind of deep exploration of that. And I want to go a little bit deeper into my credentials, and then I will also be uploading a video reflecting on an event that has taken place over the weekend. Now, in 2010, I started studying Middle East history at American Military University, and I did graduate from American Military University with an MA in history, and I did that in 2013. I did my thesis on the ziggurats of Mesopotamia and the legitimacy of Sargon the Great and how he channeled his legitimacy to rule through building of the ziggurats. My first postgraduate project was to contribute to the SAGE Encyclopedia of War Social Science Perspectives. SAGE is right there with some of the other major reference compendium publishers in the United States and around the world. And I was very fortunate to be able to author a number of entries that were not just on the Middle East, but also were oriented on warfare in general. Now, in 2011, I wrote my first magazine article and wrote it for Ancient Warfare magazine, and that was on archery and the origin of the composite bow. And also in 2013, I had my first journal publication, which was run in Saber and Scroll History Journal and was on periodization in Mesopotamia. Now, I'm not going to go through every single title and every single publication that I have had, but I will sum up by saying that I have had 14 journal peer review articles published between 2013 and the present. Some of the journals that I have published for or through have been the Journal of International Affairs, Saber and Scroll, the Journal of Conflict Archaeology, University Journal of Military History, the Journal of Advanced Military Studies by Marine Corps University Press. I have also been able to publish a large number of magazine articles. Particularly for a while, I was a regular contributor to Nile magazine. I have also contributed to magazines such as Modern Warfare and Strategy and Tactics Press. I have also written 3 chapters, and these chapters have been published in 2 separate books. One of those books was World Community and Arab Spring. The other one was Boots and Suits. Between those 2 publications, I have written professionally on Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait. And some of these other journal publications have also reflected a very specific national issue, addressing issues in Kuwait. In the Journal of International Affairs, I discussed and reviewed the Peninsula Shield Force, which is an armed element of the GCC. Other journal publications have reflected on ancient Near Eastern history, but they all have had a military outcome and focus. I have also authored a large number of reviews, book reviews, but these book reviews have been written on the basis of my historical knowledge and work, either in the ancient Near East or in the modern Middle East. And as you can tell, for the last 16 years, I have been working consistently in Middle Eastern issues. I cannot remember any single, or there might have been one article that did not focus in some way or have some relationship to the Middle East. This work resulted in me beginning what is called Near East Observers in August of 2020. Near East Observers had been an outgrowth and was an outgrowth of a blogging effort that I had called Dispatches from the Middle East, which was begun in 2015. But because of the way in which I wrote it, I was posting it as articles, and maybe they would get, 3 or 4, maybe 5 views. I didn't really have a lot of reception, and that was genuinely because of the format that they were written in, as well as the fact that the articles were very obscure. Not obscure content, but just not in a trafficked manner. Near East Observers became a more active blogging post and effort by just posting thoughts and reflections through general comment posts, as well as discussing the areas where I believe people have gone wrong. The central point of emphasis and the central idea behind Near East Observers was kind of an outgrowth out of reading different posts by people and seeing those areas of disagreement or where things could be tweaked. And I was working very hard to just kind of make some adjustments, tweaks, and to do so from a Middle Eastern perspective. So trying to not talk about Washington's impression of a Middle Eastern event, but educating the other way, educating scholars or people who manage at Buc-ee's or people who have expertise in real estate, and they decide to comment from the outside, which is not bad. But I just was beginning to offer some correctives about where they had gotten Middle Eastern culture or Middle Eastern history wrong. And so that is where Near East Observers had a strong origin. My first post was on August 4th of 2020, and that is the birth date for Near East Observers. And that was when the grain silo in Beirut, a very terrible, very hard day for Lebanese people, and a day that I still reflect on every year on the anniversary. That is when I really fundamentally started the process. Now, as a result of the 2023 Israeli-Hamas war, about a month into that, so in November, I was called for the first time to be on a number of different programs. Number one, I started with a blog called Human Notions, which is a humanities blog, article magazine type of format. And I'm still in contact with the host of that blog. Very excellent woman, very excellent scholar. Bezak, I can't remember her last name at the present moment. Please forgive me. I'm in my later 40s, so names sometimes come a little bit harder, but still very well organized and really profoundly great platform. Then I started getting notices from TV Poland, as well as Algiers 24. And so for the last 3 years, I have been appearing on various news programs from RT India, New Delhi TV Prophet, Economic Times, World Times, just like a number of different news platforms that I have been able to be a part of and make appearances on. Now, obviously, with the 2020 start, that has been continuing on through. Another thing that was added was that in 2022, I started an initial history PhD study course with Liberty University. But in 2025, after going through the majority of that program, I decided to step down to the MA in military operations. And I really believe that that was one of the best decisions I have made in my life. And the reason is that I was blogging, and I still am blogging on military events, incorporating still a lot of history. And of course, I had a large number of history courses, all of my homework that I could organize and hang on the Middle East, I did so. Sometimes if I wasn't able to, I actually felt kind of bad. But I have been developing an understanding and a foundation for military operations for the last 4 years, and I am now on the cusp of graduation. So now, as of August 2026, not only have I had a large number of military history classes and also a full on-campus ancient Near East class, I have had military intelligence, military geography, military planning, military logistics, research in military doctrine and leadership, and modern naval warfare, along with a class that I took very early on in my academic career, which was asymmetric and irregular warfare. So I have had a very broad scope, but I think also fairly a narrow degree program with a very good spread of information, both on the historical level, but also many of these operations, planning, logistics, all of these are focused on contemporary United States military doctrine, military planning, military logistics, military geographic ideas. So I feel very much ready and academically equipped to understand a lot of what the United States is doing or ought to do in these different conflicts, but it's also providing me with a new layer on understanding Middle East patterns and also what the Middle East potential is. So again, I have had 16 years of overall experience, and within that 16 years, I have been able to and very much blessed with the opportunity to go through a large number of academic preparations, refinements, strengthenings, and enablements to have a much better perspective of the events that are taking place in the region. There is the possibility that once I'm able to graduate and take care of some stuff, then I will be returning to the PhD studies to finish out that course. And hopefully by then I will have a little bit more of a fundamental idea of what I will be doing my dissertation in. But even if I do not return to that, I actually feel very confident and I feel very strong in my understanding of world events and military events. And I do believe that I have a good foundation for assessing and explaining military events and what is going on in the Middle East, but also I have been forming a very good understanding of basic military practice. If I turned the camera around, which I might do in brief, this is my book collection. And even there is one bookshelf behind me, which I will not show because it would reveal some personal elements. but these are all on the Middle East. These are all on warfare and combat, or some other element of that, or both. So you can see in that video, there's about 350 books in my personal library that you can view. There are some books behind me. And that bookshelf has additional, not only just history books, but also military history, strategy, tactics, other types of books which emphasize these different things, and from all different historical eras, periods, and locations, including China and other parts of Asia. So if you're looking for someone who has a very deep, very precise idea of what I would dare to call bellomology, and that is the study of warfare with a concentration in and specialty in the Middle East, I would definitely be amongst the forerunners, I believe, in that area. So these are my credentials as they exist right now. Obviously, there are a lot more. If you go out and if you look for James Bowden, you will find a number of publications that are specifically from me. You might find them also under James Bowden, MA, Masters of Arts, which reflects my current degree, which is still Middle East history. Soon that will be adjusted to Kassandra Bowden, dMA, short for double MA, which will be a double MA, Middle East history and military operations history track. Thank you very much for your attention in this video and allowing me to explain why should I even be making videos and why should you care what I have to say about history and security. And I hope that this does give you a little bit more reasonable basis and a little bit more confidence, or a lot more confidence, to come back and view my videos on a more regular basis. Thank you.